Boston looks to save the final Protect Shield for Shadow Rhyperior. Spark and Aria gets Scizor insanely low. Rhyperior gets a very nice running start, and out comes Shadow Jumpluff, and this really is the bait game. The Mod Slaps are triple resisted. Breaking Swipe won't do much of anything. We are going to need to land the Rock Wrecker. Boston goes to the Breaking Swipe bait. The opponent puts up that Protect Shield, and this is only going to end one way. It's going to be high Jumpluff by Jumpluff. Welcome back to the channel. When I woke up this morning, I knew today was going to be a good day, because the one and only Xboston sent me some mail overnight running a triple Shadow Glass Cannon team in the Open Great League. We're currently in the middle of a Go Battle week. Of course, if you want to do 20 sets, it's going to be quite time consuming, unless of course you're willing to try one of these very high risk, high reward teams. Despite on paper this team looking like it cannot tank a hit for shit, which is correct, Boston was able to gain over 200 elo yesterday. On a side note, believe it or not, he's actually on this exact same team in the Open Master League. I'm sure if we all ask nicely, we might be able to see a sequel when all three leagues return next week. I'm going to keep the intro short and sweet. Without any further ado, let's get into the battles. And in game one, we lead Shadow Scizor into Rhyperior. The Poison Stings are resisted, but unfortunately for us, opting for the moveset of Night Slash and Trailblaze, our charge moves are fully walled. I really like this team structure from Boston. Scizor, being a Bug and Steel type, has only one singular weakness, and that is to fire, so we've got two fire type counters in the back. Boston makes a very nice catch, catching the Aqua Tail onto Gyarados, and out comes Grumpig. Boston able to fire off the Aqua Tail on what looks like to be a CMP tie. It looks like the opponent looked to get off the Dynamic Punch before we potentially reached a crunch. Despite us only reaching an Aqua Tail, we're able to force the opponent's first Protect Shield. Scizor going to come in, over farm, fire off the Night Slash. Night Slash might not get the same type of attack bonus, but I have no doubt easily going to pick up the knockout. Scizor unfortunately doesn't get the boost and does leave low. To my surprise, the opponent sends out Quagsire and Boston's going straight for the Trailblaze. Does the opponent respect the damage? They do not. Poor old Quagman straight in and straight out. Back out comes Rhyperior. Boston able to reach the Night Slash. Night Slash goes unshielded. The opponent probably thinks, what the heck went on? And we're off to a very quick 1-0 start. GG's and thanks for playing. Heading into the next battle, we see probably one of the best leads we could possibly wish for. This is one of the few scenarios where the opponent's actually forced to go for Aerial Ace as opposed to Frenzy Plant. Usually if Frenzy Plant's only single resist and Aerial Ace hits for neutral, Frenzy Plant's still more energy efficient. Boston was able to obtain himself an early shield advantage and looks to catch the next Aerial Ace onto Gyarados. Gyarados not a particularly good damage sponge, but Aerial Ace doesn't do much of anything. Out comes more Pekko, Blink, and you might miss it as we're very quickly going to get Thundershock farm down, but not before Boston's able to force himself a 2-0 shield advantage. Out comes Rhyperior. Seed Bomb would be double super effective. We see Boston respect it, putting up a Protect Shield, and unfortunately we get Psychic Fangs baited. Boston forced to shield up a potential Dark type Aura Wheel. Again, the opponent's Psychic Fangs bait us. They then send out Superior. We see a Rock Wrecker bank, the pivot, and the attempted snipe with Night Slash. Night Slash picks up the knockout. Oh baby, out comes Talonflame. This poor old opponent is now going to lose Talonflame forever. This Rock Wrecker is going to do so much damage. When they queue up for the next battle, Talonflame is going to be absolutely unconscious and unavailable for him. GG's. For anyone wondering, a Shadow Rock Wrecker does 222.9% of Talonflame's HP. Can anyone think of a move that does more? That is absolutely absurd. Heading into the next battle, we see Scizor into Rhyperior. The opponent sent out Gator Trainer. Are you sure about that? Boston fires off the Trailblaze. Oh, there's another one-hit KO. Well, not quite. One further Bullet Punch. Picked up the knockout. Poor old Gator. Straight in and straight out. Oh, man. We're less than 5 minutes in and Pokemon are getting boomed left, right and centre. Boston then saves Scizor, makes the crunch catch onto Gyarados. As I said previously, Gyarados is not a very good damage sponge. That crunch did absurd damage. That was only neutral and almost knocked us out. Out comes Jumpluff. We fire off the Aqua Tail, doing some decent chip damage. Boston's going to wait out his clock and send Scizor back into the arena. Boston, still with shield to hide behind, is going to invest a Protect Shield here, knowing this Bullet Punch damage is very valuable as our Mod Slaps will be triple resisted. Boston then over farms, fires off the Night Slash on the charge attack priority. Night Slash forced the final Protect Shield. Even if they've got Energy Ball, I believe they're completely Energy Dry now. So we are going to CMP tie to the charge move. And unfortunately, Jumpluff, this CMP is not even close. Rhyperior has like a 30 higher attack, and we take that game. Heading into the next battle, we see Shadow Scizor into Clodsire. This is kind of a scuffed matchup, to be honest. The Poison Stings are resisted, but an Earthquake probably picks up the one-hit KO. The opponent has farmed up to it. Boston thinks about calling it. The opponent actually full send the Earthquake, so a very wise shield invested. Boston gonna fire off the Night Slash, fishing for that boost. The first one goes unshielded. Boston then farms up, goes for the Earthquake catch. Please tell me that full sending again. Did we just catch the Earthquake? Yes, we did. Oh, that is such a high risk, high reward play. If opponent was baiting with a Stone Edge there, we would have been straight in and straight out. Although in complete fairness, the opponent counter-swapped Gator, and Gyarados isn't getting too much screen time as a resisted Hydro Cannon does pick up the knockout. Boston sends back out Scizor, fires off the Night Slash, forces the opponent's first Protect Shield. Boston thinking the opponent isn't going to 2-shield here in the mid-game matchup, so opts to fire off the Trailblaze. Trailblaze removes Gator from the field of play, and out comes Drifblim. Boston banks a Night Slash and catches the Icy Wind onto Rhyperior. This is super effective damage, so despite making a catch, Boston is going to burn the final Protect Shield. The opponent continued to stay in. Boston going to fire off the Breaking Swipe. Breaking Swipe won't be lethal, but will get the opponent low. Can Rhyperior survive a super effective non-stab Icy Wind? Off just about. Rhyperior gets rocked deep into the red health range. The opponent makes a very nice catch, catching the Breaking Swipe onto Clodsire. Boston goes to the undercharge, pivots into Scizor. He overfarms, fires off the Night Slash. We should still be outside of 1 hex range, and we are. Boston able to reach the next Night Slash, and we pick up a very well played game. GG's. Whenever I feature Boston Battle, we always have that one guy in the comment section saying, oh, these are low elo or not legend ranked battles. However, you can see his gameplay is absolutely on point. And to back this up, he's been playing Battle Frontier in the same faction as me, Shadowclaw, and recently he's been on an absolute tear up. So I just want to say, Boston, fuck the haters. You, sir, have all the skills to pay the bills. I suppose it's a bit early for mad tangents. We saw Tinkaton in the lead. If Boston can align a Rhyperior against that Tinkaton, we're probably going to be in for a good time. Although Bulldoze will be super effective and Rhyperior isn't the bulkiest, back out comes Tinkaton. Gyarados going to fire off the departing Aquatail before unfortunately getting Fairy Wind farmed down. As the opponent's got an energy lead, this kind of puts us in a bit of a weird spot. We could send out Scizor, look to soak some energy, and that looks like the path that Boston is going to choose. After this, I'd probably be spamming the switch into Rhyperior, looking to get an energy. The opponent actually gives up switch themselves, sending out Blastoise, and we are going straight for the Trailblaze. Trailblaze goes unshielded, doing big damage. Boston going to look to force the energy. The opponent looks for the rollout farm down. Scizor says no, reaches the Night Slash. Night Slash forced the final Protect Shield. We're able to snipe with Rhyperior. Blastoise loses all of its energy. The opponent very angrily conceded the match, and we take that game. In the next battle, we see Azumarill in the lead. This is definitely where the team wants to see it. Rhyperior would take double super effective from the bubble damage, and Gyarados would be hit with double resisted with a quick move of Dragon Breath. Boston, right off the bat, able to land the Trailblaze. The opponent going to fire off the Ice Beam. Ice Beam not going to do much of anything, off, and the opponent aggressively sniped with Skeledirge. Poor old Scizor got very quickly deleted, but it's now Boston's turn to very quickly delete a Pokemon. I think this is an easy 1 shield and full Mud Slap farm down. The opponent full send the Shadow Ball. Rhyperior gonna get that full Mud Slap farm down. Azumarill re-enters the arena. We send out Gyarados. I don't think we can double resisted Dragon Breath farm down. Boston recognises it, gonna fire off the Aquatail. Aquatail actually forces the Protect Shield. We can survive any one move, but as the opponent shielded this, I would consider shielding, and Boston does exactly that. The opponent then send out Sableye. The opponent can't shield this move as we've got a Rock Wrecker banked. Aquatail goes unshielded, and I think the damage is just done. The opponent is going to fire off the Foul Play, which will remove Gyarados from the field of play. But Rhyperior just going to Mud Slap farm down everything. 1 Mud Slap removes Sableye from the field of play. 1 Mud Slap would have knocked out Azumarill, but the opponent actually chose to concede the match. Heading into the next battle, we see Drapion on the lead. The fast move pressure is all with Scizor, but the charge move pressure is all with Drapion. Our charge moves are fully walled, whereas their Crunch would almost pick up a 1-hit KO. Boston correctly shields at the Crunch. Going to return via with the Night Slash. Night Slash gets little respect, then Boston makes a catch of the Aquatail onto Gyarados. That is such a nice play. The opponent's kind of forced to go for an Aquatail there, as if they committed to the next Crunch, they'd just lose CMP. The opponent actually concede a farm down and then send out Lapras. Lapras going to be greeted with the Crunch. Crunch goes unshielded, and unfortunately we don't see the defense drop. I think Lapras could have committed to the Sideway farm down. However, they actually opt to dump the Sparkling Aria, and we certainly are not complaining. Boston does have energy banked on Scizor. Actually, one bullet punch off the Night Slash. Boston goes straight for the Night Slash, looking to force a shield or just knock Lapras out. We actually forced the Protect Shield. The opponent going to fire off the Sparkling Aria. Boston going to be saving his final Protect Shield for Rhyperior. Sparkling Aria gets us low. Rhyperior hits the field of play and gets a very nice 2 Mud Slap running start. Out comes Shadow Gyarados, and this really is such a bait-dependent matchup. Boston is very reliant on landing that Hail Mary Rock Wrecker. The opponent go for the Aerial Ace bait. Boston says, I see your bait and I raise you a bait of my own. Boston fires off the Breaking Swipe. The opponent puts up that Protect Shield, and we all know how this one's going to end. Rock Wrecker, an absolutely busted move. It's actually a Blast Burn clone, and have no doubt, easily picks up the one-hit KO, and we take that game. What a way to clutch up a perfect 5-0 in the next battle. What an awful lead. So I really like what Boston did there. Despite Scizor taking double super effective from fire, we threw one bullet punch and then transferred the Incinerate onto Gyarados. Our Gyarados save switch is answered by Rhyperior. We go straight for the crunch, forcing the Protect Shield and getting the defense drop. The opponent go for the Aerial Ace bait. Gyarados withstands the damage, and this forces the opponent to dump yet further energy. So despite Boston seeing one of the worst leads he possibly could with the team, he has managed to get himself some kind of advantage in the mid-game matchup, and that is a shield advantage. Boston sends out Scizor, goes straight for the Night Slash. Night Slash picks up the knockout. Again, one bullet punch and transferring the Incinerate this time onto Rhyperior, and out comes Ferret. We see Boston not even farm up to the Rock Wrecker, instead go straight for the Breaking Swipe, fishing for that coin flip chance of the attack drop, and the RNG gods smile upon Boston as the attack drop does come through. Boston correctly shields at the Trailblaze. Rhyperior looks for the Mud Slap farm down, but unfortunately unable to achieve it. Boston now forced to burn the final Protect Shield, as even a Swift would do too much damage. Back out comes Talonflame. Boston fires off the Breaking Swipe bait. Breaking Swipe forces the Protect Shield, and there's the catch. Back onto Scizor. The opponent very smartly undercharged, but one boost and Incinerate knocks us out. We're only one Mud Slap off the Rock Wrecker, and I can't quite believe it, but Boston will be emerging victorious. What a game. GG's. Leading Shadow Scizor into the Kentucky Fried Chicken Bird of Death. Who was worried? I'll be honest, I was, but Boston got the job done. Heading into the next battle, we see Tinkaton in the lead. Scizor hitting for neutral with the bullet punches, but unfortunately both our charge moves are walled. We fire off the Night Slash. Unfortunately, we don't see the boost. The opponent going to return fire with the neutral Bulldoze. Bulldoze also not going to do much of anything. Boston then farms up and makes a Bulldoze catch onto Gyarados like an absolute savage. Our Gyarados save switch is answered by Big Man Blastoise, looking to have a good time in its party hat. Now they've got Rollout, an advantageous matchup for Blastoise. Back in the day when they ran Water Gun, Gyarados would have been favoured. Perfect energy management from the opponent. They leave minimal farm and farm up to double Hydro Cannon. One knocks out Gyarados. Boston would have to shield either Pokemon, so instead he's going to send out Rhyperior and look for a one Mud Slap running start. The opponent sends back out Tinkaton. Trainer, I don't think you reach a charge move. The opponent recognises it, then send out Corsola. Corsola going to get baited with the Breaking Swipe. The fear of the Rock Wrecker forced the Protect Shield. We then bank a Breaking Swipe and go for the Wham Bam combo play into Scizor. Scizor fires off the Night Slash, forcing the final Protect Shield. The opponent looking for that full Astonish farm down, but Scizor still not done. Going to fire off one further Night Slash. Night Slash goes unshielded as the opponent has no shield. We're then able to reach the Breaking Swipe, winning CMP. Back out comes Tinkaton, and one Mud Slap is going to be all she wrote. GG's. Heading into the next battle, we see Kanto Marowak in the lead. Very rare to see an opponent not run the Shadow variant. I smell a Bone Club catch incoming. Looks like Boston happy to stay in, at least at the start. Boston going to shield at the first Bone Club. He farms the Trailblaze and baits with a Night Slash. Night Slash actually forces the Protect Shield. Do we see the Bone Club catch? I can see it coming. As I've seen Boston play time and time again, clearly the opponent didn't anticipate the catch, and that is such a waste of energy. Out comes Obstagoon, a Pokemon you rarely see in Go Battle League. Back in the day it was quite common, but of course counter has been nerfed, so its pacing is heavily affected. It used to be straight 5s to both Night Slash and Cross Chop, whereas nowadays as counter only generates 3 energy, it's straight 6s to each of them charge moves. Despite Obstagoon's lackluster energy generation, they are able to win the Zero Shield scenario. Boston sends out Rhyperior. Back out comes Marowak. These Mud Slaps are doing disgusting damage to us. We fire off the Breaking Swipe. Breaking Swipe force the final Protect Shield. Boston goes to the Wham Bam combo play, giving the opponent the Big Mac and the fries. Night Slash picks up the knockout. We get the boost. Holy, look at this bullet punch damage go. Out comes Galarian Weezing. Night Slash is resisted, although you wouldn't know it. We're able to Bullet Punch Farm Down and take that game. Heading into the next battle, we see new kid on the block, Shadow Malamar in the lead position. These Psywaves are resisted, although Scizor doesn't really resist anything. We fire off the Night Slash obtains us an early shield advantage. We then pivot into Gyarados. Gyarados is going to tank a Foul Play. Foul Play does do a lot. Out comes Charger Bug, just 2 Volt Switches, remove poor old Gyarados from the field of play. Gyarados really is not getting much screen time today. Boston sends out Rhyperior. X is a survival, but again, Rhyperior not known for its bolt. Ouch. Boston goes for 1 Mud Slap and the Breaking Swipe, which is good fast move timing, but Breaking Swipe isn't going to cut it from here. Boston then aggressively sends out Scizor, and I'm guessing we're going to go for the 1 shield. Resisted Bullet Punch Farm Down and look to leave with residual energy good to go. Not entirely sure why the opponent X's it there. I guess they knew which always shielding. Out comes Wishcash. Please go unshielded, please. We need this to go unshielded. No! All the opponent had to do was shield that move, and I think they win. They showed no respect, or as I like to say, and I'm not always the most politically correct, they fucked about and they found out. I guess the opponent was looking to save their Protect Shield for the glassy Shadow Malamar. But you can't tank a double super effective move, or not well enough anyway. They're on like 1 HP, Rhyperior. Gonna Mod Slap Farm Down, absolutely everything, and we take that game. Heading into the next battle, we see Clodsire in the lead. I can see it now. I can see Boston trying to catch an Earthquake. We're going to catch a Stone Edge bait. Oh no, please no, please no. And we're going to get absolutely one shot. Please don't be a Stone Edge. Oh my god, the opponent thankfully full sent an Earthquake. Our Gyarados safe switch is answered by Feraligatr. This time Boston's actually going to invest the Protect Shield. What has this Gyarados done to you, Boston, bro? It is taking so many slaps in today's showcase. Boston fires off the Crunch, forces our shield back. The opponent doesn't commit to the farm down, opt to dump energy. This is just going to enable Boston to get a very nice energy lead with Scizor. Scizor re-enters the arena, does overfarm before firing off the Night Slash, looking to remove Gator from the field of play. Down goes Gator. Does Clodsire return, or do we see the opponent's third? The opponent thinking about it, send out Talonflame. Rhyperior completely core breaking the opponent. Back out comes Clodsire. Boston gonna fire off the Breaking Swipe. Breaking Swipe goes unshielded. Boston can just shield this move up. Fully Mud Slap Farm Down, and we are off to the races. I think this game is now unlosable, so what I'd do is 1 Mud Slap and just full send the Rock Wrecker. We need to guarantee the protection. Win con for the opponent is somehow knocking out Rhyperior, and to do that they're going to have to Brave Bird. If they do Brave Bird, they're going to triple debuff their own defense, and that just means the Night Slash we've got bank knocks them out. It looks like Boston has other ideas, somewhat playing with his food. We're able to catch the Fly, back onto Scizor. Fly isn't lethal, and Scizor is going to be a Talonflame counter confirmed. GG's. Heading into the next battle. Lead Shadow Scizor into Blastoise. You can tell it's the end of the season. Everyone's having a good time. Another Blastoise rocking its party hat. Boston farms up, makes a very nice Hydro Cannon catch onto Gyarados. Let's see what our poor old Gyarados safe switch is answered by this time. Out comes Cradilly. Boston able to farm up, fire off the Aqua Tail on the charge attack priority. That's just quite a lot. Potentially, as they're now energy dry, 6 bullet punches knockout. If we get a farm down, that is going to be huge for us. Although we could get 1 turn bring in. Let's see what Boston opts for. I certainly think the farm down, well actually no, it wasn't possible. As you can see, that was alignment despite throwing 4. And the next bullet punch wouldn't knock out. It's a good recognition from Boston. I know everyone's always hyped with the new season looming for move updates. The only update I really want for the Go Battle League is 1 turn bring in to stop. The opponent didn't respect the Trailblaze. This now sets up Boston for the 1 shield. Bullet punch farm down. The opponent not wanting to see the farm down. Send out Drapion. Drapion plays the CMP tile. They do not win. The boosted Night Slash forces the Protect Shield. And this is again just going to be a fast move beat down to the finish. Rhyperior going to hit the field of play. Look at the Mud Slap damage. It is disgusting. Drapion only going to reach 1 move. This is double super effective. We'd probably survive 1, but regardless, we're going to invest that Protect Shield, Mud Slap farm down everything, and take that game. Heading into the next battle. We lead Shadow Scizor into Shadow Cresselia. Now that is a cool flex. I've actually powered mine up for the Ultra League, where it's actually not too bad. The opponent safe switches into Shadow Typhlosion. Rhyperior has its wicked way. Typhlosion gets deleted in the blink of an eye. Back out comes Cresselia, and we full send the Rock Wrecker. Cresselia might think it's thick, but Rhyperior has a little something to say about that. This Rhyperior is getting out of hand. Rhyperior deletes 2 Pokemon. I didn't even see the third, but the opponent runs for the hills. GG's that opponent. Cool team. Heading into the next battle, we see Corsola in the lead position. I can't believe how much this Night Slash does, to be honest. It cleanly 2-shots, and Corsola is one of the bulkiest one in the meta. That's just how hard Scizor hits. The opponent makes a questionable play, shielding up the Night Slash. We then pivot into Gyarados. Thank you, Boston. I was going to say, we make another questionable play as Power Gem will probably one-shot us, but Boston does invest the Protect Shield. Not entirely sure they went for the Nightshade there. I guess it is what it is. Out comes Jumpluff. While Gyarados might be glassy, Aerial Ace is not going to cut it, and that definitely isn't fair when farm down range. Boston fires off the crunch. The opponent going to dump one further Aerial Ace, and this should set up a farm down for our Scizor. If the opponent farm ups an Acrobatics, I'd probably respect it with Scizor. To be honest, even an Aerial Ace now with been chipped probably needs to be respected. Again, you can see the Bullet Punch doesn't go through. This one-turn bring-in is so annoying. I get annoyed even shoutcasting. Please fix it. Come on. We bank the Night Slash, snipe the triple resisted Mud Slap, baiting a back out Corsola. Boston just settles for the breaking swipe, fishing for that 50-50 attack drop chance. The opponent invests the Protect Shield, and Boston is more than willing to match. Boston at this stage just needs to be mindful of the opponent trying to make a catch. Boston overfarms, fires off the breaking swipe. Breaking swipe picks up the knockout. What is that third? Out comes Tinkaton. Oh man. We have not a single charge move that can hit for anything other than resisted. Boston fires off the breaking swipe, goes for the CMP sack. The Fairy Wind comes through. Night Slash isn't going to cut it. The opponent looking for that Fairy Wind, farm down, will reach one more. Come on, Scizor. In Scizor, I believe. Is Night Slash enough to knock out? Oh, heartbreakingly it isn't. The opponent played the endgame well, and unfortunately Boston is going to take a heartbreaking loss. GG's to that opponent. Heading into the next battle with Xboston looking to bounce back. We've got Shadow and Shadow Crime. Scizor into Jumpluff. The opponent farms the Acrobatics. I was going to say we're definitely have to respect it, but that looks like a charge attack priority, which means this can only be an Aerial Ace. I personally don't bait all that often, but I'd always farm up to the big move, even if I did have the intentions to bait, trying to put some shield pressure on. We see a change of strategy from Boston. I was expecting an Aerial Ace catch onto Gyarados, but this time Boston actually invested a Protect Shield. The opponent sends out Malamar. We've got so much energy. Boston fires off the first Night Slash, forcing the Protect Shield back. Boston is doubled up and is going to throw back to back. The second Night Slash does land, and rather than concede a farm down, we send out Gyarados once again to be the world's worst damage sponge. Whilst Gyarados doesn't sponge energy particularly well, we do still have Scizor around, potentially the third shield should Boston need it. Gyarados able to reach the Aqua Tail, picking up the knockout. Out comes Morpeko. Uh-oh, trainer, you're in trouble. 2 Mud Slaps do half the health. Absolutely sickening. Whenever Rhyperior tanks a charge move, it looks like he's in pain, but in reality, it's Rhyperior dishing out that pain. We go for a catch. Our catch attempt unsuccessful. Boston just going to shield up the incoming Psychic Fangs. Jumpluff is energy drive. Back out comes the Cotton Ball. Boston going to fire off back-to-back breaking swipes. One will force the Protect Shield and one further Mud Slap. We're at the next one, and that is going to be all she wrote, with Boston bouncing back to winning ways. Heading into the next battle, we lead Shadow Scizor into Shiny Goodra. Despite them being a dragon and us being a steel type, not actually the best matchup, as one-turn moves like Dragon Breath do really chunk, as Scizor is such a glass cannon. The opponent pivots out of that matchup, sending out Sand Slash. Looks like Boston happy to stay in, firing off the Night Slash. The opponent goes straight for an Ice Punch, which is resisted. Not sure on that play from the opponent, to be honest. Some of these plays are very questionable. Boston able to reach the next Night Slash. Night Slash forced the protection. The opponent looking for the farm down, recognise they're not going to get it, and now just set themselves up. There's nothing but free farm for either our 2 remaining Pokemon. Boston sends out Rhyperior. Rhyperior gets a very nice 1 Mud Slap. Running start, and back out comes Goodra. Goodra going to be greeted with the breaking swipe. In Master League, this is quite underwhelming, but in the Great League, I was going to say I'd do a lot, but the opponent makes a very nice catch, catching onto Lapras. Boston has his fishing line out, fishing for the breaking swipe debuff. The opponent invests a Protect Shield. The attack drop does come through. We've got 2 shields, so this game should be over. Boston going to correctly shield up the Skull Bash as well. The opponent recognised that was their win con, landing the big bash. They didn't land it, and they concede the match. And that is just about going to wrap things up for today's Shoutcast. A huge thank you to the one and only Xboston, who never disappoints. Of course, this week we've got 20 sets to play. So if you're brave enough, give this team a try for yourself. You're going to win quick, lose quick, but regardless, you're going to have some fun on the way. And when you're gaming, that is the main thing. So if you're enjoying the content, smash that like button. If you're new, consider subscribing. If you like your battles featured on my channel, a link to battle submission form is down below. And as always, a huge thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.